railway bridge we call spaghetti, and you will definitely see within this video all the situations that we have with the crumbling structures that is occurring with this railroad bridge. Not to mention you will be seeing a bolt that was falling out, all where it came from. But why are we allowing these railroad bridges to deteriorate when they are a massive source of necessity for the safety and national security? And why is the Federal Board of Transportation not acquiring these railroad bridges and making sure that they are repaired appropriately? Because this railroad bridge, the foundation in this video, you will see that it's just crumbling, and yes, it's made out of brick and mortar. The foundation is, other than steel support structure that is bending in the middle. The brackets are that support the beams and part of the structure system. They are bending due to heat, cold, snow, and ice. Not to mention, I'm sure there's a few times that a snowplow has rammed into the sides of the bridge support structures. Not to mention, who knows what else is ran into the bridge itself. You could have the semis run into it if they don't pay attention to the height of this railroad bridge. This bridge is near Washington and 8th Street North in Minnesota, basically downtown Minneapolis. This bridge is a main rail line for all the transportation people. We call it spaghetti because it's just becoming more and more weaker due to, again, the temperatures within the state of Minnesota is always climbing and dropping every year. Now, in this video, we did not have any trains go over at this time, but there were a bunch of trains that were idling their engines nearby. I could hear and feel the vibrations of the trains, even though they weren't driving over the bridge. Now, I would like to see that the Army Corps of Engineers takes over on this bridge. That would be great. A lot of these bridges that I've shown in this collage of videos and photos that were taken of the railroad line, railway bridges. This one here is really checked up because of the rust. Not to mention bolts are coming out. You will see that. You will see the support beams structure part bent on both sides of the rail line, and you will see the deterioration of the brick and mortar just crumbling due to all the vibrations. Now, I don't know if this was built in the early 80s. I'm assuming so because it's a pretty old bridge. It could even be late 70s that this bridge was also built. But I do know it's an old bridge that needs to get fixed, and the rail line still use it yet today. Again, this is again the Mississippi River nearby. Yes, you've got businesses nearby. You probably got public housing nearby as well on the streets around this particular bridge, definitely. And it's a major corridor for mass transit. People use this road daily. Semi-truck, cars, buses, if they do go through. You got definitely people that go to the recycling locations in Minneapolis here in Minnesota. They are nearby this bridge as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of railroad cars that stop by there and fill up with recyclable goods. I'm sure of that. If not, they're utilizing railway cars that are also transportable on semi-truck, which I've seen a few of those as well pass through. So either way, it's going to the rail line. We need, as a community and as a nation, to get our mass transit up and running and fixed and mobile. Please get the Army Corps of Engineers involved, because the Minnesota State Board of Transportation with these rail line bridges are not doing their job appropriately. This is becoming a danger to our society, not to mention national security. Board of Transportation. I do not understand what is really going on with the State Board of transportation, this is becoming worse and worse every year. They're not doing their inspections. Oh, they're fixing roads, so to speak, and other issues, so they say. But what about mass transit? They're not fixing the railroad lines. No. Yes, I know it's partial responsibility of the rail line to do their inspections of those rail line bridges, but it also is the state of Minnesota to make sure that they also do another inspection themselves for those bridges in order to make sure it's safe for United States citizens. Like these other bridges that I just did, we called them Hamburger 1, 2, and 3, and 4. They're near apartment buildings, and they're constantly being used, just like this bridge. But again, you got vibration of the yin-yang all the time. It is constantly being vibrated, and these bridges are getting old and not even maintained appropriately. They're going to fall down eventually. If the Board of Transportation doesn't do anything, we're going to have to contact the federal government to oversee national security issues regarding nation's transportation guidelines that are being neglected and they're not being followed. I know the national security guidelines for mass transit has been instated since the 1940s when World War I started. I could have been in the 1930s as well. But you look at the war and how we developed our mass transit as well as the rail lines for combat use as well as peacetime use. Don't forget, those trains are hauling our fuel, gas, heat, automobiles at times. They're also hauling waste, trash, oil. They're hauling electronics, anything you can shake a stick at. They put in trains, even humans. Look at World War II. What did Hitler do? Use the trains as a slaughtering house base. But that's basically what's going to happen if the state of Minnesota doesn't do anything with these rail line bridges and get them fixed appropriately. It's going to be just like what happened during World War II. The only thing is, it's the bridges that are going to collapse because of that. After dealing with situations with this bridge, you're going to be possibly having more failure if it's not decommissioned and torn down and re-put back up for aiding the mass transit requirements of getting trains from point A to point B. It's not that we don't need to shut the railroad down. We do need to make sure that our repairs are done appropriately to the trains requirements of the Department of Transportation, especially Federal Department of Transportation. The Transportation contacts the Federal Department of Transportation to get assistance with these railroad bridges, demise of their ignorance of proper care. I don't know if it's due to the companies that they rely on. Is it the actual companies that run the transportation, the railroad companies? Are they the ones that are responsible? I know a lot of them are, but still, we need to make sure that Northern Burlington, Santa Fe, and all these national, state, and federal run companies are upholding the Federal Department of Transportation Safety Board guidelines. And even though they were put up in, the 1930s to 40s prior to World War I and World War II, the present combat issues. These bridges are mass transit and they are qualified under the federal government for major upkeep and maintain for the mass transit emergency protocol system if required.
Please subscribe, select that like, thumbs up and share buttons. You can also comment and interact with the video, which also helps with spreading my channel throughout YouTube with people who have the same interests as I do and concerns. Thank you for watching.